Hello, my name's Michael Keneally, and this video is all about Halloween energy, where we are now, but bringing in also the 8th house in your astrology chart. But let me start this video by saying please don't be distracted by my unusual appearance, the blood clots and the swollen nose. I had a fall last Sunday and I landed on my nose on a concrete surface and had to spend 11 hours in hospital. But ignore that, please, and focus on what I have to say. So, October the 31st, November the 1st, in Western cultures, have been celebrated as the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, or Halloween, or Groundhog Day. They are the cross-quarter days. What's a cross-quarter day? Well, a cross-quarter day is an astronomical energy marker that falls halfway between an equinox and a solstice, dividing the year into 8 segments. And cross-quarter days, especially Samhain, are time periods when the veils between the worlds are thin. We are more opened in the days around this time to our unconscious material. It's so important to identify what you're holding unconsciously and what to do about it. This is actually death and rebirth energy. We're opened to spirit energy. And specifically at the time of Halloween, we're each of us called to complete our harvest. What have you been doing and working at that needs reaping and completing? We need to do that. And indeed, it's very similar to Saturn's divine nature energy in astrology. And of course, it's the same as the 8th house energy, which you so need to know about. The 8th house is death and rebirth time when it's activated. We humans historically have honoured the ancestors and the dead, and this is a very big time for honouring the ancestors and the dead in so many cultures. It's the nature of the energy at this time. Even when they've treated us awfully, we have to see the gift in that, and we have to see the limitations in their incarnation, which they had to work at and indeed didn't manage to successfully solve in that incarnation. But none of us are perfect. We absolutely need to make the step of identifying how gifts from our ancestors, even awful gifts, as well as kind gifts, are gifts for us to receive and work with spiritually. And, I'll do a video about that. I did loads of ancestral healing work a couple of years ago. It is so essential to do for each of us. And building an ancestral altar sincerely can massively help us. And of course, if it's an issue with you, get a reading from me, and I'll talk you through your chart and your ancestral issues with suggestions what to do about it. So I'm going to do a post about ancestral work coming up. And it is very like the energy we experience when the 8th house is activated in our birth chart. So watch out for my upcoming post about how to identify the nature of your 8th house energies. both using Vedic astrology and Western astrology. I always combine the two. I also want to strongly mention that in all my readings and courses, I also use two wonderful predictive age points that tell us what sections of the chart are activated when and what planets are activated when. They're called, the age point and the nodal age point. So the age point is about our psychological unfoldment and hopefully growth. And the nodal age point states the nature of the whisper to us from the astral at any point in time in our life upcoming. Now, I live in the west of Ireland, amid the sacred monuments left by the Neolithic first farmers. And this area is full of monuments orientated to Samhain, where we are now. Samhain energy was sacred to them and to their farming practices. I actually have their DNA from my mother's side. Now, the first wing of their emigration was from Anatolia. It started around 7000 BC and onwards, and the first of them arrived here in the west of Ireland around 4000 BC and later. So this wave of migrants who so venerate Samhain and death and rebirth energies, emigrated via the Mediterranean, first of all, for example, Sicily, and then the coasts of Spain, through Gibraltar, Portugal, coast of France and Brittany, to then arrive here in Ireland around 4000 BC, and sometimes doing the whole journey in one go, even carrying their favourite animals here to Ireland in their boats. Now, so many of their monuments are aligned to Samhain, the cross-quarter day marking the sun's position at the end of summer and the beginning of cold winter, marking the time of transition when the veils between the worlds are thin and the energy includes the time of the dead. So, for example, I live near the cave of the Morrigan at Owen Gat. The Morrigan's the wonderful war goddess of the ancient Irish. If you look at my Druid Forest School website, you'll see I do courses to work with the nature and energy of the gods and goddesses of the ancient Irish. And Owen Gat was certainly rated as a gateway to the other world by the ancient Irish, massively so. And they were seen as particularly powerful around the night of Samhain, October the 31st, November the 1st, as the centre of that energy period. And the medieval manuscripts of the ancient Irish write of the boundaries between the worlds being thin. Around Samhain, monsters and spirits emerge, and we can have those inside us, particularly perhaps in our 8th house, as I've said. A time when the dead return to the living. The energy of change of the seasons from summer to winter at this time activates all this. The ancient beliefs stress the link between season energies and our experience of the supernatural. We can find supernatural insights by experiencing the energies of spring, the cold, awful energies of winter, the summer sun, etc. It has a divine nature, these different energy phases. The ancient beliefs stress the link between season energies and our experience of the supernatural. And we must also do it at this time the end of summer, the start of winter. Crucially, young warriors used to go into the cave of the Morrigan for their rite of passage from young guy to warrior. And indeed, the manuscripts record how some of them just couldn't face the challenge, couldn't face the energy of the war goddess down in the cave and ran screaming in madness from the cave. And my point is, activation of our 8th house can call us to make the step to do this similar rite of passage too. Watch out for my upcoming post on how to analyse 8th house energies in both Vedic astrology and Western astrology. And by the way, I actually offer tours to the Cave of the Morrigan at Owenigat as part of my Sacred West of Ireland tours. It's Tour B on my Sacred West of Ireland tours page. The link's in the blog post. And do see the other wonderful Sacred West of Ireland tours I do. Now, I did a Samhain exercise this morning involving the drawing of 2 tarot cards and a rune and then a shamanic journey, and I was so empowered by it. I've been ill since December, that's 10 months, due to throat polyps and endlessly in and out of hospital. And then to cap it all, I had a fall a week ago and spent 11 hours in hospital last Sunday. But experiencing death and rebirth energy, which is so analogous to 8th house energies, and working with those energies and what they can teach me, help me arise from this difficult period and strongly face my revival time ahead with so many wonderful astrology posts, YouTube videos and blog posts planned. Oh, and by the way, I would say I also live near Listergill in the Carrowmore archaeological site near here. And Listergill tomb has its central passage astronomically orientated to Samhain, including particularly to a lake at the nearby Ballygawley Mountains. And that lake was venerated as an energy centre around here of the birth of the winter sun, and particularly the birth of the kayak or the hag of winter. And we need to be open to coping with how the sun is weaker and colder at this time, and particularly the anciently perceived hag of winter, the kayak, that face of the goddess, which can teach us so much to cope with when we're feeling, oh, I can't manage this anymore, etc., etc. Well, her energy gets us through winter to the next summer. So, do book an astrology reading from me. My readings are totally wonderful, combining both Vedic and Western astrology. You go to my Star Wheel Astrology website to book a reading. You might like to book some of my Irish or Norse spirituality work. That's my Druid Forest School website. So, I teach the Ogham or the Ogham, the ancient spiritual alphabet of the Irish, and the runes, the wonderful spiritual alphabet of the ancient Norse, which are so powerfully predictive. I teach a wonderful shamanic healer course. So they're all on the Druid Forest School and more. And do see my Love Star dating website. It's especially set up for those on a spiritual pathway who are seeking love. And the way astrology, my astrology, can help those on a spiritual pathway and seeking love is tremendous. And also it's supported by a number of other totally wonderful healers as well. So if it applies to you, do look up my Love Star Dating website. So I hope this post, with its meditation on 8th house and Samhain energies and journeys of death and rebirth, has been of interest to you and helpful to you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.